Homeowners and property managers, storm season is here and we want you to be prepared. As we're still in the process of helping homeowners and property managers rebuild from the 527 storms from last year, we are reminded of the fact of how few people were properly prepared for what hit. Now, of course, there's going to be things that are unexpected, but there are a lot of things that we can do ahead of time to make sure that during a storm event, you're properly taken care of, you're safe, and you have the documentation and process in place to make sure that you're put back together quickly and properly. Okay? Now, the biggest thing, of course, when a storm happens, whether it's a tornado, a bad hailstorm, hurricane winds from a storm down south, the first and most important thing to take into account is your safety. Okay? Now, I was speaking with an electrician friend of mine, Whetstone from Singer-Vaughn Electric, and he pointed out a few key things that we wanted you guys to be aware of should a storm hit. Okay, and the very first is your electrical lines, making sure that the power from the road to your house is not touching the ground. Okay, if it is, don't go anywhere near it. Make sure you call an electrician or call us. We'll get Singer-Vaughn out there ASAP to take care of that for you. If a tree is leaning on a power line, stay away from that tree, okay? There are anywhere from 19,000 to 35,000 volts going through that main line, so that is deadly. All right, the second thing is to know where your gas shutoff is and to know the scent associated with it. Now, it might seem like everything stopped, the storm's over, but if you have a gas leak and something that ignites that, we saw 2 homes completely annihilated by an explosion from the house in between after the storm had already passed. It was completely unexpected, but there was a gas leak that they didn't know about. There might have been a smell, there might not have been, but make sure you know where that shutoff is. All right, and then back to the power. We want to make sure that you guys take steps now to prevent against a power surge or something that could even stay latent for a while and then be a danger later. So get a hold of us as soon as possible if you're interested in any type of preventative power surge protectors for your entire house. Okay? The second thing during a storm event is documentation. I cannot overstate this because, especially directly after, it's going to be very emotional, very catastrophic. You know, it's going to be hard to think about things sequentially, and we understand that. That's why we want to bring this to you ahead of time, because it's very hard when you see your house, you know, in a heap, or you see part of your house ripped off, or you see, you know, your neighborhood destroyed, the place you grew up. We know that it's very emotional and heartbreaking. So that's why we want you to take this into account now and have your plan in place, because it's not going to be, you know, as easy to think clearly then. So make sure you document. Make sure you take plenty of photos of the damage. Take photos of your property. Take photos of damaged contents. Even if it's something that got flooded in your basement and you just need to get it out, document, document, document. You cannot have enough photos and you cannot save enough receipts of all these expenses. All right, now our second shout out goes to Steve Whetstone with Whetstone Legal. He was a great resource for victims of the 527 tornadoes, and he still is in the process of helping plenty of people from that. So make sure you check out Whetstone Legal. I'll have a link to Singer-Vaughn Electric and Whetstone Legal in the description of the video, so you can check out their resources and get a hold of them ahead of time if you want that network in place, which I highly recommend. Now, even if you don't think a receipt's important, you still want to save that, right? Your hotels might be covered, your additional meal expenses might be covered. It's all stuff that you can potentially be reimbursed for. So make sure you're saving that, you're documenting, you're photographing all along the way. Now, the third and most important to us, obviously you're safe and you've documented, but now the most important process to have in place to get, you know, put back together is the right contractor selected, okay? You're going to hear a lot of things about irreputable contractors, about shady contractors, about fly-by-night contractors. So you might be afraid to sign a paperwork to contract with anyone, but let me tell you, not having a contractor is much more dangerous, okay? You want to vet the contractors. You want to make sure that they're reliable and their references check out their time in business. Statistically speaking, Contractors, 80% of the time, are going to go out of business in the first 3 years. So you don't want to hire someone who just started their company for this one storm, who's going to be out of business and unable to honor the warranties that he's giving you. You want to make sure that it's someone reputable, and you want to make sure it's going to be someone who can take care of you quickly, who probably has, hopefully, experience in storm restoration, so they know what damage to document and how to put it back together properly. Okay, so in a storm event, we know that not one contractor can help everybody. So for us, we're not going to be able to help everybody. It's going to be a first come, first serve. It's going to be the greatest needs. And it's going to be, first and foremost, people that are already in our system, people who have contacted us for these pre-storm inspections that we've been pushing because we know the importance. When we know what the property looked like today, we know exactly the differences of what it looks like after a storm. So make sure that you contact us to have that pre-storm inspection done, and you'll already be in our system. We'll know when you get hit, and we'll know the exact damages that occurred. Now, make sure that your reputable, honest, local, experienced contractor is preventing from further damage. If they come up and have you sign a contract, but they're not preventing the leak from getting worse in your roof or tarping up your siding, they haven't done their job, and they have potentially excluded you from certain coverages, because it's up to you to make sure that you mitigate further damages. All right, this is something you're going to want to talk to your agent about. You want to know, hey, what are my responsibilities after a loss? What do I have to do to make sure that everything's covered? Talk to your agent about that. All right, and you want to make sure that your contractor is taking that into account. And then along the process, along the whole insurance restoration process, you want to make sure that you keep us, the contractor, in the loop. Don't try to hide stuff from us, because it's not going to do you any favors if we don't know what the insurance is covering, so we don't know how to properly supplement and get that claim up. Okay, so make sure that you keep us in the loop along the way. And then the fourth and final thing is to make sure you take notes of the communication between you and the insurance company. Make sure you know when they called, what was discussed, what was agreed upon, and do your best to keep the communication in writing. It's not always possible to keep every email documented or to keep everything even in email. You have to make a phone call, you have to take a phone call, but if you, as much as you can, keep it in an email form. Okay, we hope this helps you. This is going to be part 1 of post-catastrophe series. Okay, there's going to be a lot more that we're bringing to you guys, because it is a very lengthy process. Like I said, we're still helping people from 527, which is a great deal in part to back and forth with the insurance company, which is unfortunate, but luckily they have a local, honest, experienced contractor who knows how to jump through those hoops, no matter how long it sometimes takes. Okay, so pay attention, stay tuned. We want you guys to be prepared, and we want to help you through that process.